Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the situation report for the day of 851 for the 23rd of June. The frontline changes report has already published around 12 hours ago, and do check that out if you want a quicker update. But before you run away to the frontline changes report, for those that are impatient, and not interested in the detail of what exactly actually happened, there is still one more frontline changes report, and so I'm not going to tell you because you need to press the like button first. No, press. Okay, thank you. So for those that are not subscribed, do subscribe. And there is one more frontline change over at Rozdolivka, and this is actually quite a major one. So there is a geolocation of the Russian raising the flag over at the Sivers front at Rozdolivka and confirming that the Russians have actually taken significant ground over at the southeastern part of Rozdolivka. So this, as I mentioned before, the Sivers front is always very quiet, and when something updates, is usually quite shocking. This is actually very shocking because they raised the flag. Is it something to signify that they have captured the entire settlement, or is it just partial? So I can only put it as partial for now, and it is quite shocking. And for this, we can also more or less confirm that this area here, unlikely to have Ukrainian troops. So Ukrainian troops is likely only around on this northern part of Rozdolivka, and I think the southern half has been taken by the Russian forces. So this is a very significant frontline change over at the Sivers front at Rozdolivka, as the fall of Rozdolivka would open the doors to more power of the unnatural kind. I actually forgot the quote, so clearly I'm not a thief. So anyway, this is the Sivers front, and that's Rozdolivka, and that's where it is here. So that's all for the frontline changes report. We move into the strategy and tactical reporting. First thing first was this a big viral thingy about the shelling at Sevastopol's beach. So there is actually some. So a lot of the pro-Russian side actually claims that it was deliberate, to attack the civilians on the beach. Personally, I'm not so sure. If you look at this, the original post by the Russian Defense Ministry on their Russian version of the Ministry of Defense Telegram, they say that so let me zoom in so that the scenery is nicer. So let's see, put it here. Okay, so they say that on 12:15 noon, the Ukrainians attacked the Sevastopol with attack AMs, and during the counter missile operation, they managed to shoot down 4 of these attack AMs missile. However, there's one more because there's 5 missiles attacking. Another missile, as a result of the impact of air defense system in the final section, deviated from the flight trajectory with the detonation of the warhead in the air over the territory of the city. And as a result of the fall of fragments of cluster submunitions, more than 20 civilians, including children, were injured. So this is the initial post. And actually, if I'm not wrong, they did not delete it anyway. So, but this does not exist in the English version of the Russian MOD report. So they claim that due to the attempt to shoot down this 5th missile, because they shot down 4 already, the 5th missile actually just maybe the explosion just pushed it off course instead of destroying it entirely, or maybe it destroyed it, but the submunitions still flew off, but in a different direction, and as a result, it landed over the city, causing civilian deaths. So this is to me, the more logical explanation of what actually happened, and this is coming from the Russian Defense Ministry themselves. However, after that, they totally not talk about this air defense operations against this last missile. So in the English version, they say that 5 ATACMS operational tactical missiles with cluster warhead was deliberately delivered at Sevastopol. Clearly, because it's clearly deliberate because it's guided, you know, it's GPS guided or something. So of course they want to shoot in that direction. And the air defense unit intercepted 4. The explosion fragmentation of the warhead of the 5th in the air led to high number of casualties among the peaceful residents of Sevastopol. No, they are stepping over the sand. No, so it's peaceful. So anyway, okay, that's not appropriate. That's not a good joke. Anyway, the thing is, explosion of the fragmentation of the warhead of the 5th missile in the air did not really reflect the same as the initial Russian ones that say that impact of air defense system in the final section is two different meaning. So they just twist this to now point fingers at the American specialists that input all the flight tasks of the US ATACMS operational tactical missiles with US satellite data. And they now blame United States for the so-called deliberate missile attack at residents. So it becomes different. It's a different narrative. And then the Russian version then posted the same thing, the same one of the English version, and posted this. So the detonation of the fragmentation warhead of the 5th American missile in the air led to the numerous casualties among civilians. So the initial information that this explosion is caused by the air defense system has disappeared. It reminds me of the S-300s in Kiev and in the Ukrainian cities that tried to intercept Russian missiles and end up they missed the target and then they flew back down and hit their own buildings. It's the same kind of situation where the air defense systems does not necessarily remove the entire chance or the risk of still getting damage from certain kind of explosions or fragments or whatever. So to me, I think the first version is the most reality one. So I think this is the case. I don't believe that the Ukrainians launched a direct attack on the civilians deliberately. I think from my understanding, the target was the airbase, and somehow with all this counter missile situation, the fragment landed in this area here, probably hitting the beach. So it is what it is. This is war, and so like as usual, as I said about every single so-called alleged evil incident, this is war. That's why you don't want war, because people will die for unknown reasons. So we're gonna move on away from this so-called controversial viral thingy, and we go into the Kharkiv front. And before I talk about Kharkiv front, there is a terrorist attack over Dagestan. The terrorists are taken out and they are gone. The terrorists tried to burn the church and a synagogue and something, killed quite a number of security people, but yeah, that's about it. So over at the Kharkiv front, there is a lot of actions around here. The Russians and Ukrainians are clashing against each other in many sectors. In Klipoke, at Lipsy, they are both clashing each other. The same thing at Voschansk, at the Battle of Voschansk, as well as Russia attacking Taike. So this is the current situation strategically. The Russian Defense Ministry also reported shelling at Vasily, Pitonik, as well as I don't know what is this, Lisne. So this is the overall picture of what is currently happening. And if we move further deeper, closer into the Lipsy sector, the Russians are actually still holding out at Klipoke, with the Ukrainians launching multiple counterattack. They are also attacking at Lipsy as well. So this is the current situation. The Russians, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry say that the Russians are the one attacking, so which is why there is a clash. But I believe that the actual situation is the Ukrainians on the counterattack. Those might likely to be the case. Two majors added some additional information about this situation. They say that the Ukrainians are counterattacking. However, it seems based on their sources, they are unable to bring enough forces and equipment in order to do this counterattack. but the battle is still very heavy. So it could be no propaganda, no, but no, just take note that that's what they said. There's multiple geolocations of airstrikes in just off Versailles, Statine, over at Pitonic. There's a Lancet attacking artillery, so maybe this relates to the Potomac report of the shelling. At Lipsy, there is more Fab 3000. The 3000 kg bombs are now exclusively used on Lipsy. I haven't seen it being used in the other fronts. From what I can remember, it's always Lipsy, and so they strike here in these two locations. I think Lipsy is just this experimenting ground for these new bombs and see how effective it is in actual operation. I'm not sure. It could be the case, and the so no, we very soon we're gonna call Lipsy 3000. You know, at this rate, you know, this is gonna be like, yeah, the exclusive place that it was getting struck. Off Petrevsky, there's also a radar getting hit by a Lancet. Not sure what kind of radar. I didn't really care about that. So over on the far away south of Voschans, there was another radar getting hit by this one is a radar, but this is a counter battery radar getting hit by a Lancet. So the Lancets are still operating in this front. Over at the Voschans, the Battle of Voschans and near Taike, Ukrainians are still trying to push. It's the same report as the two majors, and the Russians, however, are on the counter also as well, with attacking particularly over at Taike. There's a geolocation of an airstrike at Taike as well, so the fighting over here remains to be rather much of a stalemate, though they are still clashing with each other. Both are on high intensity, so no one is winning right now, if as far as I can tell. But no, definitely heavy losses on both sides. No, it's not just only on the Ukrainian side. I'm quite sure the Russians are suffering a lot of losses as well, because the Ukrainians put in competent forces to be fighting in the Kharkiv front. So this is not this nothing to scoff about. So that's all from the Kharkiv front. Over at the Kupiansk front, Russian forces are attacking at Sinkivka, Petropolivka, as well as Pishani. So this is the three different places. There is multiple geolocations of TOS-1A strike over at Sinkivka. So they are bringing the big missiles here, and the use of TOS, I'm not sure does it precede a push. Not necessarily. So far, it's not necessarily, but if it's up to me, after TOS, I will push my troops. But the Russians don't seem to do that. Over Pishani, there is some shelling. So some random shellings are being reported by the military summaries. Geolocation. I do not really watch all these videos, or I'm not into war porn. Actually, I used to be, but ever since the real war happened, I'm not into that. There is okay. So at Novoselivsky, there is Russia seems to have taken a more advanced position. This is reported in the frontline changes report, and this could also mean that the Russians may actually have already taken the entire Novoselivsky back from the Ukrainians. This is probable. So in the strategic side, we see the Russians are attacking at Semakivka, over at Nadia, this Nadia, as well as Makievka. So this is the three places the Russians are attacking. You can see that the intensity doesn't seem to be very big. And further geolocation at Stemakivka and north of Lozova is pretty much the same thing, just artillery strellings or some attacks. Over at the Kremina front, fighting is now moving south over at Torske, Dibrova, as well as Serbiansky Forestry. So this is the main direction. Previously, we have the fighting further up in the north. This time around, it's coming off in the southern part. Then over at the Sivas front, there is shelling reported at Serbianka, and fighting reported at Vimka and Rozdolivka. Particularly, Rozdolivka is the big one, as mentioned in the frontline changes report. If you go in, Russian forces seems to have planted the flag here and taken the southern half of Rozdolivka. So, taken the southern half of Rozdolivka, and there is a possibility that the advance might be actually much further than this. The Ukrainians may be having the northern part still. There is some high grounds around here. If I go into the relief mapping, you can see that this high ground around here is under Ukrainian control. It's a very, very high ground, and they overlook across the river at the Plosva River, overlooking Rozdolivka. So the Russians may push through in this area here, but they will be subjected to sniper fires, and long range attack, most likely, depending on the foliage around there. I'm not sure how clear they can see. Russian forces previously was noted to be, according to Russian reporting, are attacking in the high ground towards this position, but it's unclear if the Russians will actually are actually over here, and will they continue to push. So we're not sure. This Sever's Front is always this mystery that there is always not much information about. So when it comes in an avalanche of information. So this is what it is. You can see, okay, we'll go back to the satellite imaging. We can see that there's not a lot of trees around here, but of course this is dated, so we do not know if this is still updated as per at this moment. Zooming in, not seeing some entrenchment clearly means that this is a old satellite imagery. So we move on from the Sever's Front. Over at the Bakhmut front, the Russian forces are attacking towards Minkivka. They are attacking Khorivka, south of Kalinina, towards Chasivya, as well as Ivanivsky. This is the current situation. There is some geolocation of TOS also operating over here, and a FPV drone hitting M113. So there is still significant fighting around here. So, but not much change in terms of the situation on the ground, it seems. This TOS is now hitting on the south or western part of a canal. So Russians are noted to be, according to the Russians, they have taken the 3/4 of the settlement. They are now hitting this position, which makes sense because you can't possibly be hitting near to your own troops. So yeah, quite depressing if I'm the defender over there. And over at the New York front, the offensive towards Pivnishny is not reported. There is only shelling being reported at Toretsk, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And then over at New York, there is the reports according to the Russian Defense Ministry, but this could also be just shelling. It might not necessarily be a push. So, which means that give me a second. My arrow app has crashed. So, give me a second. I need to queue it. Okay, how do I queue it? Oh no. Okay, so you have to bear with me while I debug. Oh, okay, I could do that actually. So let me start again. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it works now. So yeah, you watch my debug in real time. Oh my god. So that's shocked me. No, I don't want to repeat everything again. So which means that the Russians attack towards Druzhba and Pivnishny may have stopped, but we're not sure. But this is only the information for the past 24 hours. No reports about fighting at Pivnishny, no report about Druzhba, Zalizny, Pivnishny. Weird. Very weird. So we will definitely continue to monitor and see how this develops around here. But no reporting or fighting around here is just weird. It's just weird. But it's not weird. If you believe my analysis that this is just a diversion, it's not weird. So we move into the Avdiivka front. In the northern half of the Avdiivka front, Russian forces are attacking in Novo-Alexandrivka, Sokil, towards Yekhanivka, and Novoporovsky. In particular, massive changes at Novo-Alexandrivka and Sokil. This is covered in the Frontline Changes report. And according to the Ukrainian side, the Novo-Alexandrivka has been captured by the Russian forces because they noted the presence of Russian forces at the far western part of the settlement, and they mapped it in this way, signifying that the Russians have taken the entirety of Novo-Alexandrivka. Ukrainians still have this heavy entrenchment still marked as not captured yet, and there's another one around further behind. So this entrenchment, I'm not sure if the Ukrainians are there actually actively defending or not, but this is a significant development with the Russians capturing Novo-Alexandrivka, which meant that the Russians have secured this entire bracket, and they can now push for Zeline, and then they can also take Vodyzenka and create another shield around here, and this will also allow them to push south from the rear position and cut off the front line. So there's a lot of possibilities after the capture of Novo-Alexandrivka. So we'll definitely continue to see if this is actually legitimate, because the Russian side did not mention this at all. So over at Sokil, the Russian forces have expanded their control, and they have captured more grounds at Sokil. Which means that by now, half of Sokil is now under Russian control, and they are heading towards Yakhanivka at very fast speed. Ukrainian forces seems to have still this entrenchment around here, and they still have a lot of heavy defenses around here, a lot of them. So it's not going to be a full smooth sailing kind of thing. It's going to be still a lot of progress needed, to do much more. So according to Raiba, they as I mentioned in the frontline changes report, they feel they do not have information about the loss of this major stronghold. They say that this could just be a false information from the Ukrainians, so that they can actually later report that they have recaptured it. So I'm not sure. So far, Deep State UA has been very reliable. I haven't seen Deep State UA play this sort of game. They may withhold information and delay information, but they don't publish false information as far as I can tell, despite that they are pretty racist and they hate the Russians a lot. Of course, but it's a war. Of course, they hate their enemies. So yeah, so that's about it. In the southern half, there is still fighting reported in the Netalove region as well as towards Kharkivka. So this is an ongoing thing, and that's about it from this area here at the FK front. So we move further away. There is a shelling at Mikhailivka, not important, reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. They also shelled Korakove, which is a Ukrainian HQ headquarters for the this Marine Corps sector of the Donetsk front. Over at the Battle of Krasnohorivka, some updates. Russian forces geolocated to, which means that they have expanded their control over on the western part of Krasnohorivka, and they will continue to proceed northward and cut off retreat routes, which will then force the Ukrainians to do a massive withdrawal from the city. So this is happening, and if we believe the Russians are already pushing from the east in the northern sectors, and which means that the Russians may be conducting a massive pincer as well, all around enveloping Krasnohorivka. So this is also a possibility. So we will definitely have to monitor. I'm going to pull this down a bit so that I can use this for thumbnail. So yeah. So I have some thumbnail already. So let's see whether you can see the thumbnail, because nowadays we can do A/B testing for the thumbnails. I will always put three different thumbnails and see which one does do the best. And moving south, there's also major changes around the south of Konstantinivka. Russian forces are attacking towards Konstantinivka. They are attacking towards Vodian as well as in the area of Volodymyrivka. And particularly, there is massive changes in this sector here at Volodymyrivka. The Russian forces have captured massive amount of grounds in this area here, which corroborates my claims from probably 1-2 weeks ago. As I mentioned, that the front line around here, the Ukrainian forces, the defenses around here seems to have collapsed, and the Russians are making a careful progress in this area here. And you can clearly see that this amount of change over 24 hours is not possible. It's just impossible. You're talking about a ground of almost 5 kilometers squares plus 4 kilometers square, 9 kilometers, almost 9 kilometers square of grounds taken. Can't possibly be over 24 hours. This is a constant progress over the past maybe a week or two. So which is why, you know, we are seeing such a big progress. So definitely this is not over 24 hours. Information is just simply withheld. And this is by the Ukrainian side. So the Ukrainians are acknowledging the loss of all these grounds, and this is quite bad. As mentioned in the frontline changes report, this sector, there's a few pointy places. You can see south of Konstantinivka, you can see there's one pointy place here, another pointy place here, another one here, another one here, another one here, and probably another one here, which means that there's 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5, 6 different directions, 6 different vectors of attack, and the Ukrainians will have to defend all of them because there's basically similar numbers of tree lines. No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So very, very similar. So the Russians are pushing out along the tree lines and are heading towards the O053 highway that's linking Konstantinivka with Voleda. This one. So this Konstantinivka and Voleda. So the Russians are pushing, and of course the closest is the one nearest to Konstantinivka. This is likely to be the place where the cut of the highway is likely to happen, and this push towards Vodian, if successful, will allow them to continue to not need to fight at Voleda, because Voleda seems to be a death trap. The Russians have tried it quite a few times. They have failed quite a few times as well, because every time they failed. So they lost a lot of people there, so they are not probably going to try taking Voleda in the head-on again. So going around it does make sense, but it will take a very, very, very long time. There's still fighting being reported towards Prashitivka, and there is a FAB 250 shelling being geolocated, and maybe this is just, the report is simply just a striking, the airstrike, rather than an attack. So and we move into Velika Novosibirsk sector. At this area here, the Russian forces are attacking at Uruzhaine, Staromayoske, and towards Makarivka. Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking out of Makarivka. But no, that's about it. There is no frontline changes. There's no updates about the situation. Rather, they are just simply fighting, being reported over here. That's about it. And we move into the Zaporizhia front. At the Zaporizhia front, this is Zaporizhia city, and this is the front. All the fighting that we previously reported at the Orikhiv sector have largely quietened, except for one place at Novoporovska. So over at Novoporovska, there is some fighting being reported by two majors. This is Orikhiv, so this is the Orikhiv sector. The other one is only reported by the Russian Defense Ministry at Kayamsky. There is some kind of shelling attack or fighting around the Kayamsky region over here. So that's about it for the Zaporizhia front, rather relatively quiet. Shelling reported at Osokorivka, south of Osokorivka at Zolota Balka, so that's one point. And going to the Kherson front, there is a Russian Defense Ministry report of shelling at Ohivka, which is corroborated by geolocation of airstrikes. And then shelling at Ivanivka, also we have a corroboration of airstrike. But this named to be a another place. Let me zoom in. Novotyakhinka, so no, it's a slightly different place. And then there is also shelling being reported at Tokarivka, but we do not have a corroboration for that. So Russian forces shelled all these different locations across on the other side, the northern part of the Dnipro River. Krinky remains to be a mystery, and however, we still have fighting reported in these flood plains. According to two majors, they reported that there is some skirmishes, a small group of infantry in small arms skirmishes in the islands. They did not mention exactly where, and the Ukrainians have the advantage in this battle around here. I marked it as the one north of Kozachi Lahire in the Oleshki Island. So that's about it. I marked it there, but not necessarily is there. So in the Black Sea, there is some battles as part of the shelling at Sevastopol. The Ukrainians also launch aircraft UAVs. UAVs basically are aircraft type, and drone boats. So they also attacked. So however, I think these are all defeated. So the Russians managed to defeat them. So that's about it for the Black Sea. So that's Oh, so this is the situation report for the day of 851 for the 23rd of June. Sorry for the bad joke about the beach. No, because I just want to say that the adding of the word peaceful is utterly unnecessary. But whatever it is, no, my heart goes to the civilians that died. But again, it's a war. People die. That's about it. So no, and there is terrorist attack. Also no, my heart goes to the victims. But ultimately, thousands of people are dying on a daily basis in the Ukraine war. No, you can't actually say your heart goes to them every day. It's just hypocritical, because sometimes you just sleep and don't think about it. So no, ultimately the aim by DPA here is, if everyone can be more knowledgeable and educated and not get duped by fake news, propaganda, misinformation, then wars is much harder to happen, because everybody will be much wiser, much harder to be duped by politicians, and will elect better politicians to make good decisions that willing to cooperate with other countries, and every country have the same thing, we'll have world peace. But of course, we all know that that's very, very difficult. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next update.